why do we call you Squirt?
Because I'm a little guy.
You're a little guy. Well, this morning, Squirt, we're going to tell the boys and girls the story of Easter.
Well, yeah, I just heard the Bible reading that.
The Bible was reading that.
I don't always understand what that means.
Well, you're not alone, Squirt. You see, right after that passage in the Bible, in Luke 24, there's a story about two men. And they were walking along the road.
Walking?
Yes, they were walking away from Jerusalem. And you know what they were talking about?
No.
Well, they were talking about Jesus' resurrection.
They were?
They were.
And did they understand it?
No, Squirt. The Bible tells us they didn't understand it either. In fact, what they were saying is, we're really perplexed.
What does that mean?
Confused?
Oh, I can understand being confused.
Yeah. So they were confused. And you know what the Bible tells us? Amazingly enough, while they were walking along that road, somebody joined them.
Really? Third person.
A third person. You know who that person was?
No.
No? Well, it was the risen Lord himself.
Jesus? Wow, I bet they were excited.
Well, actually, no. The Bible tells us that at first they did not recognize Jesus. They didn't know who he was. He was disguised from them. And so he asked them what they were talking about.
Yeah, what are they talking about?
That's a good question. And they said, well, we are talking about what happened. Actually, what they said, first of all, was, are you the only one who doesn't know what's been going on?
I bet he felt silly.
Probably not. He is the Lord, after all.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, he said, no, what's been happening? And they told him, they said, well, about Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, Jesus.
They said he was a great prophet.
A great prophet.
And we thought that he was going to be the one to save us.
To save us. Yeah. But then they put him to death.
They put him to death. They killed him on a cross. And as far as these men could see, that was the end of hope.
No hope.
No hope at all. But you know what? They said. Today a very strange thing happened. Some of our friends, some women.
Some women?
Yeah, a group of women.
Oh, yeah, like we heard in the story.
Like we heard in the story. A group of women went to the tomb to put spices on the body. And you know what they found?
The stone was rolled away.
It was. It was rolled away. And not only that, but some angels told them that Jesus had risen from the dead.
Really?
Really?
Wow. You know, how many people saw Jesus alive?
Oh, that's a very good question, Squirt. That's not actually in the passage we're reading today. But one of the things the Bible tells us is that when Jesus was resurrected, it wasn't just one person who saw him. It wasn't two people. It wasn't three people. It wasn't four people. He appeared to well over 500 people who were willing to document and say they saw the risen Lord.
Wow. Wow, and so now they recognized him and, whoa. What?
They did not recognize him yet. You see, they were still explaining how disappointed they were in the fact that Jesus was dead, the tomb was empty. They didn't know what to make of that.
Oh, what did he do?
Well, he decided to set them straight. So he said, oh, let me tell you about what's happened. And Jesus went back, the Bible tells us, he went back to the very beginning of the Bible. And he told them how God had laid everything out. And they listened, and they were very attentive, and they learned a lot. And then the Bible tells us that they were getting ready to have dinner.
Oh, food.
We're going to have a lot of food later today, aren't we?
Yeah, I like food.
Yeah. Did you get any Easter candy?
No.
No, we'll have to take care of that. Anyway, so they were getting ready to eat, but it tells us that they thought Jesus was going on ahead, so they asked him to stay.
Yeah, that's only polite.
Only polite. Good hospitality.
Yeah.
So, Jesus stayed, and the Bible tells us that when he broke the bread to give it to them, they realized who he was.
Wow! And they welcomed him. Actually, no. You keep surprising me.
Well, the Bible is surprising us, Squirt, because the Bible tells us that when they realized who he was, he disappeared from their midst. He was gone. And they said, but weren't our hearts warm when he was talking? Didn't that mean something to us? And then you know what they did?
No.
They went right back to Jerusalem.
To Jerusalem?
To Jerusalem. Now, boys and girls, that may sound like a very smart thing to do, and it was, because they got to tell all of the other apostles about Jesus' resurrection. But you know something? That was also a very dangerous thing to do. Because remember, Jesus had just been what? Crucified. He had been killed. And the Roman officials thought anybody that associated with Jesus must have the same problem Jesus had. And maybe we ought to
Kill them too?
kill them too. It's a very dangerous thing to go back to Jerusalem. But it tells us that Cleopas and the other unnamed disciple were so excited, they felt it was important to tell everybody about it. And that's why they went back to Jerusalem.
Wow. That's a great story.
It is. You know, we sang a lot of songs earlier today. Do you want to try to sing one today for Easter?
Sure. Do you want to get it started?